Today we'll discuss about internal ear. So these are the three divisions of ear up to the tympanic membrane. Here is the tympanic membrane. This part is external ear or outer ear. This is middle ear which is connected to the eustachian tube, and this part is forming the inner ear. Okay. It has semicircular canals, vestibule and the cochlea, and it is connected to the brain via the vestibulocochlear nerve. Okay. So schematic diagram: external ear, middle ear and the internal ear. So inner ear, also known as labyrinth. Okay. It development of the inner ear starts at third week of the intrauterine life and completes by the 16th week. And cochlea is sufficiently developed by 28th week, so the fetus can hear in the womb after the 28th week. 28th week means after 5 months. Okay. So it lies in the petrous part of the temporal bone, and it is an important organ of hearing and balance. It has two parts. Labyrinth has two parts: bony labyrinth and membranous labyrinth. See here, this is internal ear. These are the semicircular canals. Three semicircular canals are there. They are lying posteriorly. This part is vestibule. Middle part is vestibule, and this is cochlea. Cochlea is lying anteriorly, and this cochlea is connected via this auditory nerve to the brain. So the inner ear or internal ear, it is called labyrinth from its complexity of its shape, and it consists of these two labyrinth: bony labyrinth, membranous labyrinth. Bony labyrinth, a series of cavities within the petrous part of the temporal bone, forming the bony labyrinth, and membranous labyrinth, a series of communicating membranous sacs and ducts contained within the bony cavities. They are forming together the membranous labyrinth. There are two types of fluid in the inner ear: endolymph and perilymph. Okay. Membranous labyrinth contains the endolymph, and perilymph, it lies in the space between the membranous and bony labyrinth. Outer covering is the bony labyrinth, and inside it membranous sacs are there. So inside the membranous sac will be the endolymph, and the space between the outer bony covering and inner membranous sac, there will be perilymph. Perilymph exact origin is not known, and it is a serum infiltrate, and it resembles the CSF. This perilymph cavity is connected to the CSF cavity with the subarachnoid space, and this perilymph is rich in sodium, and it is similar to extracellular fluid and plasma. Next we are going to endolymph. Endolymph origin is stria vascularis. Okay, stria vascularis, and it is rich in potassium ion, and it is similar to intracellular fluid. Absorption of this endolymph occurs in the endolymphatic sac, and which is connected to the CSF cavity. Next we are going to discuss the two labyrinth in details. Okay, first is bony labyrinth or osseous labyrinth. The bony labyrinth consists of the three parts: cochlea anteriorly, vestibule in the middle, and semicircular canals posteriorly. See this spiral shaped structure, this is cochlea. Middle part is the vestibule, and posteriorly there is the semicircular canals. Three semicircular canals are there, and this is the vestibulocochlear nerve connecting it, eighth cranial nerve connecting it with the brain, and it is derived, the bony labyrinth is derived from the otic capsule. See the three semicircular canals. This is anterior, also known as superior semicircular canal. This is posterior, and here is the lateral semicircular canal. And you note the semicircular canals are connected with the vestibule via two ends. and one is ampullated end. Ampullated end means one end is dilated and another end is not dilated. And you remember the three semicircular canals are joined with the vestibule via 5 opening, because this non-ampullated end of this anterior and posterior semicircular canals join to form a common bony limb, and which is joining with the vestibule. And this vestibule is connected with the middle ear via 2 openings. One is oval window or vestibular window, which is covered by the foot plate of the stapes, and another is round window, which is covered by a membrane, and through these windows sound transmission occurs. Okay, through the foot plate of stapes sound transmission occurs from the middle ear into the internal ear, then it will pass through the turns of the cochlea and it will be dispersed through this round window. Okay, and this is the cochlea, which is forming about 2.5 to 2.75 turns around the midline modulus. Okay, so next we are going to vestibule. Vestibule, it is the central part of the bony labyrinth and it is situated medial to the tympanic cavity. Here, this part is vestibule and behind the cochlea. Cochlea lying anteriorly, vestibule middle, semicircular canals posteriorly. And this vestibule is lying medial to the tympanic cavity, behind the cochlea and in front of semicircular canals. And in its lateral or tympanic wall is the fenestra vestibuli. This is fenestra vestibuli close by base of stapes and adular ligament. See, this is foot plate of the stapes. And this is round window which is covered by one membrane. Two recesses are there in the vestibule. One is spherical recess, saccule lodges the saccule, and elliptical recess lodges the utricle. Okay? And below the elliptical recess is the opening of aqueduct of vestibule through which passes the endolymphatic duct. And vestibule has 5 openings of the 3 semicircular canals. You have seen, see here, these are the semicircular canals are opening into the vestibule. Okay, and these are the recesses. This is recess for the utricle and this is recess for the saccule. And here this is this is cochlea. It has scala vestibuli, scala media and scala tympani. 3 cavities are there in section of the cochlea. Next we are going to semicircular canals. They are 3 in number: lateral or horizontal, posterior and superior. Superior is also called anterior. Next, it lies at right angle to each other, these 3 semicircular canals. And each canal has an ampullated end and a non-ampullated end. Non-ampullated ends of posterior and superior semicircular canals unite to form a common channel known as crus commune. And these 3 semicircular canals have 5 openings into the vestibule. Next, we are going to cochlea. Cochlea is a spiral shaped fluid filled structure. This one is cochlea. And it is a coiled tube making a 2.5 to 2.75 turns around a central pyramid of bone modulus. Okay. This here in the midline lies the modulus. See here, this is a section through the cochlea. These are the turns of the cochlea duct, and midline this bony pyramid shaped structure is the modulus. Around the modulus, the cochlear duct forming a turn, 2.5 to 2.75 turns are there. And see, in each of the section of the cochlear duct, 3 cavities you are getting: scala vestibuli, scala tympani and middle scala media. And within this scala media lies the organ of Corti, okay, organ of hearing. See, this is electron microscopic view of section of the cochlea. So, this thin plate of bone winding spirally around the modulus like a thread of screw, forming the bony spiral lamina. Okay, so this pyramid shaped structure is the modulus, around which there are bony spiral lamina, around which the cochlear turns are occurring. This is also a section, and from the scala media you can see there are nerves. Nerves are arising, afferent nerves, which are carrying the sound via the cochlear nerve up to the brain. Okay, here from the inner hair cells, this cochlear nerve is arising. Scala vestibuli, scala tympani, and this middle part is scala media. Vestibuli and tympani contains the perilymph, and scala media contains the endolymph. Okay. Organ of Corti is lying within this scala media. So organ of Corti, through which electrical impulse or sound impulse are sent along the auditory or cochlear nerve to the brain. Next, this basal turn of cochlea form a bony bulge in the medial wall of the middle ear, forming the promontory. Promontory you have seen during medial wall discussion, middle ear discussion in the medial wall. And bony cochlea contains three compartments. Scala vestibuli closed by the stapes footplate. Here we have straightened the cochlear turns. So this is scala vestibuli, this is scala tympani, and this middle part is the scala media. So you see this scala vestibuli is connected with the footplate of stapes. Here the sound wave is entering. Then it is passing through this helicotrema. Helicotrema is connection between a narrow passage near the apex of the cochlear duct through which the scala vestibuli and scala tympani is connected, and after passing through this helicotrema entering into scala tympani, and during passage it is influencing the organ of Corti lying within this scala media. Okay, and here is the round window membrane covering the round window, and this is aqueduct of cochlea, which is connecting scala tympani with the cavity of CSF in the subarachnoid space. Okay, so three compartments of bony cochlea are scala vestibuli, close by footplate of stapes, contains the perilymph. Scala tympani, this one close by secondary membrane, contains the perilymph, and scala media or membranous cochlea containing the endolymph. Here is the scala media. Scala tympani is connected to the subarachnoid space through the aqueduct of the cochlea. You have seen in the previous picture aqueduct of cochlea. Here the basal turn, cochlear turn have been straightened. Scala vestibuli, scala tympani, scala media containing the organ of Corti, and this is tectorial membrane, which is part of the organ of the Corti. And here is helicotrema, connection between the scala vestibuli and scala tympani. And this arrow is showing passage of the sound wave through the footplate of stapes. It is entering into scala vestibuli, then passing through helicotrema, passing through scala tympani, and then dispersed through this round window. Okay. So scala vestibuli and scala tympani connects to each other at the apex of the cochlea here via the helicotrema. Next we are going to membranous labyrinth. So membranous labyrinth, it is a series of communicating sacs and ducts filled with the endolymph. Within the walls, epithelium is specialized to form the sensory receptors of cochlear and vestibular labyrinth. It consists of this cochlear duct, utricle and saccule, semicircular ducts, and endolymphatic duct and sac. These are the components of membranous labyrinth. So this is cochlear duct lying within the cochlea. Here is the endolymphatic duct, and terminal bulging part of duct is the endolymphatic sac. This is utricle and saccule, and these are membranous labyrinth lying within the semicircular canals. Okay. So cochlear duct or membranous cochlea, it is a blind coiled tube which is entering into the cochlear turns. It is triangular on cross section it has three walls. Okay, membranous cochlea is mainly those part the forming the scala media. Okay, forming the walls of the scala media. So it has three walls. One is basilar membrane which supports the organ of Corti. One is Reissner's membrane forming the roof of cochlear duct and which separates it from the scala vestibuli and scala stria vascularis which contains the vascular epithelium and which secretes the endolymph. Cochlear duct is connected to the saccule by ductus reunions. See, this is cochlear duct is connected to saccule via this ductus reunions and it is forming the scala media. See this triangular section, this is section through the cochlear duct and three valves you see. This is basilar membrane which is supporting the organ of Corti and this is Reissner's membrane forming the roof and separating it from scala vestibuli. And here is the stria vascularis which helps in secretion of the endolymph. So these are the three valves of the cochlear duct. It is a blind coil tube made up of this three valves. Okay. Next we are going to organ of Corti. Organ of Corti it is discovered by Alfonso Giacomo Gaspare Corti and its components of organ of Corti are hair cells. Hair cells are important receptor of hearing and they transduce the sound energy into electrical energy. There are two types of hair cells, inner hair cells and outer hair cells. Inner hair cells lying in single row and outer hair cells are arranged in 3 to 4 layers. These inner hair cells are richly supplied by afferent cochlear fibers and they are more important in transmission of the auditory impulse. Okay, they are converting this sound wave into electrical energy and transmission of the impulse to the brain. And this outer hair cells, they mainly receive the efferent innervation from the olivary complex and connected with modulating the function of the inner hair cells. So this is function of the inner hair cells. Organ of Corti can come as a short note from inner ear. Okay. Organ of Corti is important for you. Next is tunnel of Corti. See, this is inner hair cell, this is outer, these are the three layers are outer hair cells. And this gap in between the inner and outer hair cell, this is tunnel of Corti. And this membrane is the tectorial membrane lying over the hair cells, over the stereocilia of the hair cells. So tunnel of Corti is formed by inner and outer rods and contains the fluid called as Corti lymph. And there are supporting cells also. This is one supporting cells, data cells and cells of Hansen. And tectorial membrane contains gelatinous matrix with delicate fibers and the shearing force between the hair cells and tectorial membrane produces stimulus to the hair cells. Okay. So during sound transmission, there will be movement between the stereocilia and tectorial membrane and impulse will be generated, electrical impulse will be generated. So organ of Corti contains the auditory sensory cells and complex arrangement of the supporting cells. The rest of the cells except this inner and outer hair cells all are the supporting cells. Hair cells are inner and outer hair cells. They have stereocilia or hairs and they convert the electrical impulse sound are sent along the auditory or cochlear nerve to the brain. Here from the inner hair cells, cochlear nerve is arising and they are entering, this impulse is entering into the brain. See here, this is diagram of organ of Corti. Okay, this is tectorial membrane, inner hair cells, 3 rows of outer hair cells, rest of are the supporting cells, all are lying in over the basement membrane. These are the pillar cell and this is tunnel of Corti and this organ of Corti is lying within the scala media. This part is scala media. This is scala vestibuli, scala tympani. And here is the cochlear nerve is arising and which is relaying in the cochlear ganglion or spiral ganglion. And this is histological picture of organ of body. Okay. Membrana tectoria, inner and outer hair cells. Okay. Scala vestibuli, media, scala tympani. This is schematic diagram. Scala vestibuli, scala tympani, scala media. This is tectorial membrane, inner hair cell, outer hair cells. Here the cochlear nerves are arising. See here. Here also the sound transmission. These arrows are showing the sound transmission and movement of the tectorial membrane during transmission have been shown here. Organ of Corti within the scala media. Okay, cochlear nerve is arising here. To practice a schematic diagram like this for the organ of Corti. Inner hair cells, outer hair cells, tunnel of Corti, supporting cells, tectorial membrane, and this is roof formed by the Reisner's membrane, stria vascularis forming the helps in secretion of endolymph, and this is basilar membrane over which organ of Corti is lying, and from here the cochlear nerve is arising. These are the difference between two hair cells. Inner hair cells, afferent nerves are attached to this inner hair cells and it is flash shaped. And outer hair cells are cylindrical in shape and efferent nerve fibers are joining with this outer hair cells. Next we are going to utricle and saccule. There is one sensory organ in this utricle and saccule known as macula. Macula is the sensory epithelium concerned with the balance. That is, it helps in sensing the linear acceleration and position of the head in response to the gravity. Next is semicircular ducts, 3 in number. It has ampullated end and non-ampullated end. An ampullated end of each duct contains a neuroepithelium called crista ampullaris or crista, and it is concerned with balance and it senses the angular acceleration. Okay. Next is endolymphatic duct and sac. It is formed by the union of two ducts, one each from the saccule and utricle. An endolymphatic duct passes through the vestibular aqueduct and terminal part is dilated to form the endolymphatic sac. Endolymphatic sac lies between the two layers of the dura mater. Next is, see here, this is endolymphatic duct. It is lying in between two layers of dura and this dilated part is endolymphatic sac. Okay, ED means endolymphatic duct, endolymphatic sac. It is endolymphatic duct and sac. It is formed by union of two ducts, one from the utricle, another from the saccule, passes through the vestibular aqueduct and terminal part is dilated to form the endolymphatic sac here. So 3 types of receptor we have got: organ of Corti, crista and macule. So peripheral receptors for auditory and vestibular system. We are getting peripheral receptor for auditory pathway is organ of Corti, which is formed by cochlear hair cells. And peripheral receptor of the vestibular pathway are 2 types, cristae and macule. Macule is lying in the utricle and saccule and cristae is lying in the semicircular canals. So cristae is located in ampullated ends of 3 semicircular ducts and respond to angular acceleration. Function is important, just you know the names, where it lies and its function. Macule is located in otolith organs in the utricle and saccule and sends the position of head in response to gravity and helps in sensing the linear acceleration. Okay, so this slide is important. See, the location have been shown within the cochlea. Organ of Corti is lying. Okay, this is macule lying within the utricle and saccule, and this is cristae. It is lying at the amputated ends of the semicircular canals. Next, we are going to vestibular hair cells. Two types of vestibular hair cells are lying. Type 1, it is compared with inner cochlear hair cells. In organ of Corti, it is flash shaped. This is type 1 vestibular hair cells. And this is type 2, it is compared to outer cochlear hair cells. It is cylindrical in shape. So cristae looks like this. Cristae ampullaris is seen in the ampulated ends of three semicircular canals. It has a thickened ridge covered by a gelatinous matrix. Okay, so this is thickened ridge covered by gelatinous matrix called the cupula. This part is cupula, and this cupula has these two types of cells previously discussed. Okay, type 1 is flash shaped cell, type 2 is cylindrical cells, and the cilia of the sensory hair cells are present in the cupula. Okay, these are the hair cells and these are the cilia. Cilia are embedded within the gelatinous covering, gelatinous matrix of the cupula. So this is structure of the cristae. See this schematic diagram of the cristae. These are the hair cells and their cilia are embedded within this green colored one of the gelatinous matrix. And okay, this is the sense organ of the utricle and saccule, cristae. And some supporting cells are there and cavity is filled with the endolymph. Next we are going to macule. Macule is located in otolith organs, sends the position of head in response to gravity. Here also two types of hair cells are there, type 1 and type 2, and there are also supporting cells. And otolithic membrane is present here. See, these are the otoconia which are lying over a gelatinous layer, and these are the hair cells and their cilia are embedded within this gelatinous layer. Okay, and otoconia is calcium carbonate. Cilia of the hair cells in the gelatinous layer senses the linear, gravitational and head tilt movements. Okay, otolithic membrane is the gelatinous layer over this hair cells. So this is structure of the macule. See, this is schematic diagram. Type 1 is always flash shaped, type 2 is cylindrical. These are the stereocilia and largest cilia is known as kinocilia. And here is the otoconia, calcium carbonate granules lying over the gelatinous matrix. And see the stereocilia are embedded within the gelatinous matrix. Structure of the macula. Next we are going to blood supply of the inner ear. Okay, it is supplied by anterior inferior cerebellar artery supplying the labyrinth. Which is giving labyrinthine or internal auditory artery, which is again giving these branches: common cochlear and anterior vestibular artery. Anterior vestibular artery supplying the utricle, lateral and superior semicircular canals. And common cochlear artery is supplying the vestibulocochlear and main cochlear branch. Main cochlear branch is supplying 80% of the cochlea, and from the vestibulocochlear another cochlear branch which is supplying 20% of the cochlea, and it is also giving posterior vestibular artery supplying the saccule and posterior semicircular canals. So this is arterial supply of the inner ear. Next we are going to venous drainage. 3 veins are there: internal auditory vein and veins of cochlear aqueduct and veins from the vestibular aqueduct. So these are the venous drainage of the internal ear. Next is applied aspect. There is presbycusis. What is presbycusis? This is asked in your viva or MCQs. Clinical aspects are important. So presbycusis is sensory hearing loss associated with physiological aging process in the ear. And 4 pathological types are there: sensory hearing loss due to degeneration of organ of Corti, neural hearing loss due to degeneration of spiral ganglion, striatal atrophy of the stria vascularis, and cochlear stiffing of the basilar membrane. And noise-induced hearing loss causes damages the hair cells. Outer hair cells are affected more. Okay. Next is ototoxicity. Ototoxicity is damage to the internal ear and cause sensorineural hearing loss, tinnitus, and vertigo. It is caused by aminoglycosides, which destroy type 1 hair cells in crista ampullaris and outer hair cells. Diuretics causes edema and cystic changes in the stria vascularis, and quinine causes vasoconstriction of small vessels of cochlea and stria vascularis. And NSAIDs are piroxicam and ketorolac. All these are damaging to the ear. They are causing ototoxicity. Next is Meniere's disease or endolymphatic hydrops. Endolymphatic distension mainly in the scala media, saccule and utricle occurs. And it leads to bulging of the Reisner's membrane and saccule and utricle. Okay, so these are the clinical aspects.